Hi, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. So currently, at the time I'm recording this, it is double reagents in Wizard101. It's a member benefit, so if you are like a person that buys all the areas and you don't buy membership, this isn't going to affect you. This affects the people who buy membership, which are for the majority. But basically, there is currently going on double reagents. Double reagents, I love. It is one of the best member benefits in my opinion, other than like double pet XP, and you can make arguments for all the other ones, but double reagents is literally amazing. It is amazing. Now, this video was upon request because I do have a channel in the Discord where it says, hey, any vid or guide suggestions you guys want me to make, and I'll make them. And one of those consists of, hey, what should I farm during double reagents, because currently it's active. So I thought I'd make just a strict video on saying what you should farm during double reagents. Now you can make the argument for other stuff, right? But this is just strictly for the people who do double reagent farming. So if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Join Discord. If you guys have any vid suggestions or guide suggestions, I look at them all the time in Discord, in the comment sections, and all that type of stuff, right? But we are on the rise to 1.6k members in the Discord, I believe, and on top of that, we're on the rise to 6k subs on the YouTube channel, right, where you hit 5.5, so we're slowly on that rise to 6k. So I appreciate everyone that does subscribe. But yeah, currently on my screen you guys can see the member benefit is currently active. Double reagents. Now this isn't strictly just reagents, because people don't forget that also there is no cooldown. So if you are doing your crafting quest, which is a really good segment to talk about, is go do your crafting quest. It's an easy thing to do. You get your crafting quest done, that will be better in the long run. You can do it all in one day. It's very easy to do, and eventually I'll make a video talking about how to do crafting, but it's very straightforward. So definitely, if you haven't, go start your crafting quests right away. There's so many benefits to doing crafting, so hey, you can unlock all your slots for crafting as well. So don't worry about timers. If you get a cooldown, there's literally no cooldowns. But beyond that, everything else in this video will not be in a particular order. It's just all the things I want to list. So if it's like, oh, this is the first one, so it must be the important one. No, it's just going in the list of how I written stuff down. So one of those things is parchment. Parchment is really good to farm. Now, I already made a video on how to farm parchment. It's TLDR, just farm right here in Salinopolis and just keep going around in a circle. They instantly respawn. Pick up deep mushrooms, pick up the parchment, literally easy right there. Or parchment. It's not that hard to get, so definitely do it. If you are farming Salinopolis gear, you might be wondering, what is that other icon that you need for crafting stuff? Well, if you go right here, parchment is needed for all the recipes. So an easy source of parchment is just go over there and farm it. Like I said, there is a video on parchment, so definitely check that out. Now, another segment that I want to talk about is moon dust. Moon dust is very much needed for crafting any of the Salinopolis gear, and if you are trying to farm more of the moon dust, definitely go out and farm it. Now, my personal recommendations are going to do either Mother Sun or Take and Treat, but realistically, if you are still grinding out the badges, do any of them, right? You're going to be getting extra moon dust just by participating and grinding out your badges for Salinopolis. That includes challenge mode. So if you do challenge mode of any of the Salinopolis bosses, you will be getting double the challenge mode reagents too. So keep that in mind. Now, usually I would recommend challenge mode Mother Sun if you have the team, but currently there's more mobs, so the strat becomes a little bit longer. So I'm not going to say do Mother Sun on challenge mode, but if you want to take and tree on challenge mode, and surprise, I'm even going to recommend Loon Knight challenge mode. You might be wondering why the hell are you mentioning that, but there's literally a cheese right now, so you can kind of just burn to that and get double reagents if you have the team. So either do Mother Sun on standard, Take and Tree on standard, or Take and Tree challenge mode, or Loon Knight challenge mode, only because there's a cheese right now. Other than that, I would have just been like do Take and Tree or Mother Sun challenge mode, but Mother Sun challenge mode is currently bugged because it has more minions, so there's that. I wouldn't recommend farming concert just because it takes a little bit longer, but that is up to you. But if you're going for the badges, you already know what I mean. Another thing is, if you are working towards the Walderer gear, highly recommend that you farm your Dream Water right now. This is the perfect time to do it. The only two bosses I would recommend is Crash or do Freddy. Now, if you are going for the badges, like I said, you're going to get Dream Water double passively anyways. But if you are specifically farming for Dream Water, I prefer doing Crash because I also get Socket Wrenches and I'm also farming Spellements at a faster rate. And the team up for it is always popping. You literally can just team up and you'll get a team instantly. Just please, if you are doing team up, be courteous of what you're using. Literally all you have to do is frenzy into a 7-pip. Not too hard. I see people on team up, shield, do all this nonsense for like 20 minutes and delay it. Literally all it is go get yourself a frenzy. It's not too difficult. Or you can blade yourself with the 45 blade. That is up to you. It's just people use frenzy so they can just click one card. And then just hit with the 7-pip AoE. That's all you do in that fight, and that's it. Realistically, everyone will kill if all 4 people use a 7-pip AoE. So definitely go out and farm your Dream Water. Very easy to do. Also do want to mention there is a guide on Dream Water on the channel as well. Now another thing you need to craft the Walrus gear is getting yourself some Dreamstone. So best place to do it realistically is come to Billabong Resort and just go around the whole outside and go in a full circle. Pretty straightforward. You'll see a bunch just alongside the way. And as well as if you feel like there's not that many reagents, you can take the traveler truck, and then what you could do is go to, I believe it's called Wobblegong territory because that's how I did it. Or actually it might be called, no, it's called Collie Ranch. So what you would just do is full circle around the perimeter, and then you come over here, and then you do the same thing, go around the perimeter right here. And that's about it. And you just repeat that over and over. It's an easy source of Dreamstone. If you're still lost at what I just explained and how to get Dreamstone, there's a guide on that on the channel as well. There's everything I'm going to be mentioning, 90% of it has a guide on the channel. So be sure to look at the other videos. Another good thing to farm for the crafting quest is get yourself some ether ore. Now, if you do the crafting quest, you will know that there is a specific wand that you have to craft, which are these, the revered ones. I call them the revered ones just because it's easy. They all have their own little name. But in these revered ones, or these focus ones, whatever you want to call them, right? Then you need a bunch of different reagents. And then 2 annoying ones in those, I guess shock keys, you can argue that they're annoying, but if you've seen the plant guide, you would know that shock keys aren't that bad to get. But ether ore and squid ink is the annoying thing. For ether ore, if you're going to farm it during double reagents, just go right here to Nexus. But realistically, if you just take the teleporter from Imperia, just go right here to the Reverie. That's literally where it takes you. And this is literally the best spot for ether ore. So just go right here. Look at that. You get a bunch of ether dust, and you can use the transmute for this because I believe if we go right here, I had it as like a favorite, I guess. But yeah, if you get 15 of these, you can transmute them into the ether ore. So you just keep doing this and just go in a full circle, and you'll get a bunch of ether dust. As well as if you have a pet, like I always tend to mention, which has Ellie Scout, you can also use your pet, and it will run and go grab some reagents. But since my TCs were full, I would have gotten Azoth as well. So you can just keep doing this over and over and get yourself a lot of ether dust. So if you are crafting the revered ones for all your characters, because of the quest, this is like your easy way of getting the ether dust, so you can craft it into ether ore. Now another thing that you need for crafting the revered ones, which I'll quickly go over, which I said earlier, which was the flying squid ink. Now you can get this from multiple sources, and I'll give you 2 different sources that you can get this from. Now one spot which I have done on one of my other characters is if you grab this quest in Imperia, it will tell you to go fight the monkey spider, specifically the mother one. So I do have a teleport. It's in the monkey spider cave in Aerial Jungle. It's a very straightforward place. It's where everyone farms their couch potatoes and stuff. It's these dudes. But there's a dungeon right here, which I quickly grabbed for the purpose of this video, but I already do this anyways on my other character. Once you get the dungeon, you'll see the boss and the monkey spider. The cool thing is, I like about this, is that these guys drop couch potatoes. So while you're farming this, you might as well get some couch potatoes on the side and some extra jewels, because there is a mob in here called the monkey spider, which everyone farms. So you're getting you're kind of like double dipping while farming this, as well as getting your flying squid ink. But there is another option if you don't want to do this. It's just like a slight recommendation. Both spots that I'm talking about are very good to their own right. Now the other spot which everyone does is right here, which is called Secret Tunnel, which you can see right here, right next to the column on Raiders. The monkey spider stuff is right here. You guys can see on the mini map. It's just a little cave. It's kind of straightforward. But Secret Tunnel, everyone does too. You're getting some jewels from here as well. But mainly people are farming it for the squid ink, which we were talking about earlier, which is an annoying thing. This is like the only part of the annoying quest that I will have to mention is just these 2. But now that we've covered both of those, it's pretty straightforward. Shining Scales, I've gotten a lot from fishing. So every time I fished in Elephant Graveyard, that's why I have so many. They're not that hard to get. So if you are struggling on this part, just go to Elephant Graveyard, fish, completely different story. Now another thing you should be doing during this benefit, since there is no timers, what you could do, which I do a lot, is craft a bunch of Azoth related things. So if you go right here, you should see that there's so many different recipes I have regarding Azoth, and this is for like guild stuff, but I do it all the time because they put you on such a long timer. So it's a perfect time to do these and craft specific ones to either progress your guild or even craft your guys' self some gold key gates, which are very good to do. Basic TLDR, which I'll just quickly go over it because I don't want to spend too long on this video because then it turns into an hour-long video just talking about a bunch of stuff. But if you go to Gwen, You should see that there's different keys you can craft, and then you should see the different portals. If you get your Azoth, you can convert those Azoth into these like specific ones. So instead of wasting 10 keys separately doing 10 runs, you can spend those 10 keys with some Azoth to open up a portal for 2 hours or 1 hour, right? Corresponding to how many keys. And you can do as many runs as you want in those 2 hours. So you're going to be definitely doing more than 10. You can definitely do more than up to like 50 or 60 depending on the key boss. Whenever Krampus was around, it was very easy. You can max out your spell just like in one portal. Very easy to do. But if you want these specific recipes, you have to go to your guild crafter and refine a bunch of Azoth. So you need to get a bunch of Azoth yourself. There's many sources you can get Azoth from. There's plenty of videos on the channel as well. Just the main way I do it is just by using Elemental Scout on every single character, or farming it, or like doing rematches or whatever. There's so many ways of getting Azoth. But yeah, if you want those recipes, you have to refine Azoth to be getting those specific school recipes. But it takes a lot of time, so that's why a lot of people did it whenever there's no timers, aka the crafting benefit. So definitely, if you are a person that's into guilds and stuff like that, and you want to, farm up some stuff for later on doing gold key portals, you have to do this. It's a long process, but doing it during the benefit is perfect. You'll breeze through this very quick if you have a lot of Azoth. Now we're on the topic of guilds. Make sure you guys do some raids. Now particularly, there's only 2 raids I would recommend even doing. The third one doesn't even give you reagents, but now go get yourself some Shabalba shards, because those are very annoying to get. And since it's double reagents, you're going to be getting double the reagents from finishing the raid. And since you're going to be doing multiple attempts, instead of doing one key that lasts 3 hours, and instead of like doing 2 separate ones, you can basically get double reagents and get double shards. Very straightforward. Same thing with the Polaris raid stuff. You'll get demonic shards very quick. So highly recommend that you go do both of the raids. Everyone's going to be scheduling raids during this time because they want to get more reagents, and saves a lot of time, because instead of doing 6 hours of portals, you just do 3. So you're getting literally time saved. So it's definitely worth doing if you are into guilds. Plus the demonic robes are good. I use them in all my setups for PvE, and the Hunhound Shabalba is really good for raids, or not raids, but they're good for PvP, and then some people use them in specific niche builds. So hey, there's that, and I do like the amulets. So it's like you pick your poison. Certain pieces of gear are good from here, and I could talk about it for hours, but we're talking about the reagent stuff. So yeah, definitely go do your raids. Now I went on my flyer to specifically show you this, but you guys already know all about weaving. I've made plenty of videos on the channel. If you're lost about weaving, just watch one of the videos. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but this is a good time to also get yourself some weft yarn. Now, weft yarn is used specifically on crafting those dual school pierce jewels. Now, depending on you look at it, weft yarn might be annoying to get, but I already have a guide on the channel on what's the best way to farm weft yarn. Definitely do that. Now, if you are a storm wizard, I know some people will be like, well, if I'm a storm wizard, I can't do storm weaving. You can go do the balance oni. That is up to you from doing balance weaving. But honestly, just do storm weaving. It's a 1-round fight if you have the setup. If not, bring someone with you. They can use lightning bats like path B, and then the other person can just AoE. It's still a 1-round fight. But if you are solo, right, if you're a solo-esque person, you want to farm it all by yourself, it's 1 round if you have the setup. But if not, it will be 2 round. But as I said, there is a video already on the channel on how to farm the weft yarn, so perfect time to do that as well. And the next thing I want to mention is farm your reagents for the boss rematches. Now, the boss rematch gear is good. It still is good. The rings people use in PvP. I've seen some people use it in some PvE builds, specifically for advanced content, not so much PvE. You're not really going to be using it like when you're questing and stuff like that. Once you're like max, you don't need these, but they're just, like I said, they're good for like niche builds. But the Umber rings are really good because they have a triangle socket. So definitely go do that. Go get yourself some shadow webbing, as well as you need to get the reagents anyways to craft the duels, which we'll talk about in a second. And then as well as the hats are still good because the fact is they give a power pin and they give 2 sword pins. Some people like using the Umber robes for their setups. I don't recommend them, but hey, if that's something you want to do, you can use the robes for your setups. The wands are really good because they give you a mass trap for your school, so it's very good for doing something that's like advanced content related. I wouldn't really use it in your regular PvE setup, but the item card is good for advanced content stuff. And then the rest of the gear is kind of it's just up to you. But I do recommend going out and farming your reagents for these rematches. There's so many different reagents. We can be here for hours. So definitely just go out. Some notable spots, for example, if you need parchment, I already have a video on it on the channel. The flax, which is a new reagent, but people just go to Nightside and farm it from there. The fire blossoms and the lava lilies, I have so many. I have more on my shared bank, but they were pretty easy to get. I think all I did was just roam around Dragonspire, and I think one of my plants give it as well. Scrap iron I get from, I believe, evil magma peas. Yeah, scrap iron I usually get from evil magma peas. And then some of the other reagents, like, we can go on for hours, but majority of these I've gotten from like plants, so I never had an issue. The Pendragon stuff, you can go to like the outer yard. That's where I've seen most people farm their roses, but there's other spots in Avalon that you can farm those. And then blood moss I have gotten from my seeds as well. So a lot of these I've been getting from seeds, but if you are trying to farm them, just specifically the ones that are more annoying, like roses and as well as the flax, because those are like only reagents that you have to go pick up. Everything else is farmable by like plants and other resources. So all these reagents are pretty easy to get. For the Morgan stuff, oh dude, this is like a no-brainer. You can just go to outside Morgan's palace. Everyone goes there and switches realms every so often, so you can get those as well. Another thing I almost forgot to include in the video is by doing the library gauntlet. Now, this boss won't give you any loot like unreadable ink. It's mainly just the final boss that'll give you all your ink, but you want to be farming unreadable ink. Basically what it's used on, and I don't have the vendor right here, or I'll have to do the entire dungeon right now, but there'll be a vendor over here that you can spend your unreadable ink on, and that's how you get the plot armor robes. Now, I talk about these in my videos all the time. These robes are a good alternative. I use them in challenge mode because the stats are pretty decent on them. But for PvE, you can use these instead if you don't want to be using the raid robes. So if you don't like doing raids or anything like that and you want to use something else, the next best thing is using plot armor. And to craft these, you can get them as drops from the final boss, but if you want to craft them, you need that unreadable ink, which I was talking about earlier. So doing just a bunch of runs for the library gauntlet is a perfect time for you to stockpile on that unreadable ink, so you can go craft your guys yourself some gear. So definitely do that. And it's not only just that, it's used for like low level PvP setups, as well as certain pieces of the gear. I believe some of the amulets have good item cards, so you can either craft other pieces of gear if you feel like it, but personally I think the robes are just the priority you should be doing that on. So just stockpile on a bunch of unreadable ink and just craft a bunch of robes so you don't have to worry about them for later. And if you don't know what the library gauntlet is, as states, it's a housing gauntlet. There's plenty of people in the Discord that have it. I have all the gauntlets in my house. There's other people in the Discord that have the gauntlets, so just ask somebody in the Discord. And then the last thing I want to talk about reagent wise is crafting your guys' self some jewel vaults and gear vaults. I mention these all the time in certain videos, and they're very good to craft. The reinforced crate you can literally go buy in the shopping district. If you need stone blocks and sandstone, you can go to, I believe, Conda Desert. Conda Desert has a lot of reagents. If not, you can go strictly outside of Morgan's Palace. Those are very easy spots to get that. Mistwood, there's so many spots you can get to, and then the rest of this you can just buy in the bazaar or like certain vendors. You can literally get to the library vendor and get these, and then there's a vendor that sells flawless sapphire. Jewel vault, same premise. This is very easy to craft. You can get this, most of the stuff you can get from like Conda Desert or like other sources, or even like gardening, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, but this is a good time to craft those as well. And then lastly, the seed vault, which I've talked about on how to farm pink dandelions in the seed video. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. Deep mushrooms, you can literally go farm those where the parchment stuff is, so it's not really that hard. Mistwood you can farm in Selenopolis too if you wanted to. There's like a good spot there too. And then the braided vines, I know some people are saying like, how do I have so many of these? Because I have like, I think like 400 in the shared bank or something like that, or probably even more. But I've gotten these from using Myth Scout, and there's also other bosses that drop the braided vines as well. Also, there are some seeds like silver trumpet vines that do drop it, but I didn't think it was worth mentioning in the seed guide video because there's other seeds that are way more important. I think crafting gardening silver trumpet vines specifically for braided vines are kind of annoying in my opinion. Also, there's plenty of bosses that drop braided vines as well, but honestly, if you have a pet that has a Myth Scout on it, similar to what I have, which is Ellie Scout, you'll get a bunch of braided vines over time. And then lastly, this is technically an honorable mention. but you can go farm your guys yourself some Dragoon gear. In my opinion, Dragoon gear is kind of just like useless nowadays, but I know so many people have made different arguments of why you should still farm it. I'm kind of still like, it's kind of just niche. But you can go out and get the boots, not so much the hat, I wouldn't say. I mean, if you want the hat, go for it. The amulets are good to certain schools, but I don't use any of the Dragoon amulets anymore. But if you want to craft them for like questing and stuff like that, that's very understandable. But at most, it's probably just the amulets. Everything else is kind of niche. So if you want to go farm the trash boss, you can. And the only other reason I'm actually including this is because the fact is, in my training point guide, I did mention how Daybreaker and Nightbringer are worth getting spellments for, and the bosses that literally drop you the reagents in the catacombs will give you spellments for these spells. So if you are trying to at least get one of them, at least you're benefiting in it in some sort of way. That is it. I do want to premise though that, hey, at the end of the day, it's double reagents, right? There's no timer. Craft whatever you want. Anything that you still need to craft, anything that you still need to farm reagent wise, is all dependent on your account, right? If you are still a brand new player, this is your perfect time to do all your crafting quests, go farm all your reagents that you need for your crafting quests, and there's plenty of guides on YouTube as well as on the channel, right? But this is just something that, you know, this is more of a priority in my minds. But as I said, you can craft whatever, anything is a priority to your account at the end of the day. So yeah, that is it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys go farm during double reagents, and leave a like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. Hopefully we can get to 6K, as well as join the Discord. There's plenty of guides as well in the Discord as well, and plenty of other people in the Discord that are willing to help you with any sort of thing. So I do appreciate all of you guys, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.